I've been a park ranger for 15 years, and most of that time has been peaceful. You see the occasional lost hiker, a few rowdy campers, but mostly it's just me in the woods. I thought I'd seen everything this forest had to offer. I was wrong. It all started last fall, just as the leaves began to turn. The park was quieting down for the season. Fewer tourists, fewer cars in the lot. That's when we started getting the calls. Not many at first, just 1 or 2 a week. People reported strange noises at night. Not the usual animal sounds, not coyotes or owls. They described it as a high-pitched wail, almost like a woman screaming but distorted electronic sounding. We chalked it up to wind whistling through the canyons or maybe a mountain lion. We have a few, but they're notoriously shy. We told people not to worry. Then, things escalated. A family camping near Hemlock Creek called in, completely panicked. They said something had been circling their tent all night, making that same screaming noise. They described heavy, deliberate footsteps, not like a bear or a deer. They said it felt like whatever was out there was watching them, testing the tent, pushing against the fabric. They packed up and left in the middle of the night, didn't even wait for the sun to come up. When I went to check the site the next morning, I found tracks. They weren't from any animal I recognized. They were large, almost human-like, but the stride was too long, and the impressions were too deep, as if whatever made them was incredibly heavy. There was also this weird, sticky residue left on their tent, a dark resin-like substance that smelled faintly of pine and something else, something coppery, like old blood. That's when I started to feel a genuine sense of unease. This wasn't a prank, this wasn't a bear. I started patrolling more frequently, especially around the areas where the reports were coming from. I'd drive the trails at dusk, my spotlight cutting through the trees, feeling a constant prickle on the back of my neck. The woods, a place I had always considered my home, suddenly felt alien and hostile. The silence was the worst part. The forest, which was usually alive with the sounds of crickets and frogs, would go dead quiet. It's a silence that means a predator is near, and every animal for a mile around knows it. And in that heavy silence, I'd sometimes hear it, that awful wailing scream echoing through the valleys. It made the hair on my arm stand up every single time. It sounded like something in immense pain, but also filled with a terrible rage. The incident that truly terrified me happened about a month after the first report. I was doing a late-night check on the northern boundary, an area rarely visited by hikers. My radio crackled to life. It was Sarah, one of the newer rangers, her voice shaking. She was calling from Watchtower 3, a remote lookout post deep in the woods. She said she could see a fire. This was a huge red flag. We were in a dry season, and a single spark set the whole park ablaze. I told her I was on my way and to keep an eye on it. As I drove, I tried to get more details, but her transmissions were breaking up, filled with static. All I could make out were panicked phrases like, "not a campfire," and "it's moving." That didn't make any sense. How could a fire be moving? By the time I reached the base of the trail leading up to Watchtower 3, the smell of smoke was thick in the air, but it was a strange smoke. It didn't smell like burning wood. It smelled chemical, acrid, like burning plastic, and something else I couldn't place. I parked the truck and started to hike up. It was pitch black, and my flashlight beams seemed to be swallowed by the darkness. The silence was absolute. No insects, no animals, nothing. Just the crunch of my boots on the dry leaves. Halfway up the trail, I found Sarah's radio lying on the ground. It was cracked, but what was strange was that it was warm to the touch, almost hot. Now I was seriously worried. I called her name, but only the echo answered back. I reached the clearing where the watchtower stood. The tower itself was a simple wooden structure, about 40 feet tall. The door at the base was wide open, swinging gently in the breeze. A sick feeling churned in my stomach. I drew my service pistol, not that I knew what I would use it for, and slowly climbed the stairs, my heart pounding in my chest. Each step creaked under my weight, the sound deafening in the stillness. When I got to the top, the lookout cabin was empty. A single lantern was overturned on the floor, its oil spilled in a dark pool. The logbook was open, and Sarah's last entry was just a single, jagged line, as if her hand had been violently jerked away. And then I saw them. Scorch marks all over the interior walls and floor, but they weren't like normal fire damage. They were bizarre patterns, almost like intricate symbols, seared into the wood. I looked out the window, scanning the forest with my flashlight, and that's when I saw it. About 100 yards away, in a small clearing, was a light, but it wasn't a fire. It was a tall, slender figure, maybe 7 or 8 feet tall, and it was glowing. It pulsed with a sickly greenish-white light, bright and then dim, bright and then dim. It stood perfectly still, its form humanoid but unnaturally thin, with limbs that were too long. As I watched, frozen in place, it slowly turned its head to look directly at the tower. It had no face that I could see, just a smooth surface that reflected the eerie light it was emitting. And then it let out that sound, that high-pitched electronic wail. It wasn't coming from a mouth, it seemed to emanate from its entire body, a sound wave that vibrated through the air, through the floor of the tower, and into my very bones. I didn't even think, I just ran. I scrambled down the stairs, stumbled out of the tower, and sprinted down the trail faster than I ever have in my life. I didn't look back. I could hear it behind me, that terrible screaming echoing through the trees, and the sound of heavy, rapid footsteps crashing through the underbrush, keeping pace with me. I reached my truck, fumbled with the keys, and peeled out of their tires, spitting gravel. I drove straight back to the main station and locked the doors. We organized a search party with Sarah at first light. We searched for days. We found nothing. No tracks, no signs of a struggle, no more strange residue. It was like she, and the glowing thing I saw, had simply vanished. Sarah was officially listed as a missing person, presumed to have gotten lost in the wilderness. But I know what I saw. The northern section of the park has been closed indefinitely, officially due to unstable geological conditions. The calls about the screaming have stopped. Sometimes, late at night when I'm on duty, I look out towards those dark, silent woods, and I feel a cold dread creep over me. I know it's still out there. Whatever that thing was, it took Sarah, and it's waiting in the dark. I still do my job. I still patrol the trails, but I never go into the northern section. And I never ever stay out after dark if I can help it. The woods are not my home anymore. They're just a place where monsters hide. I don't know what it wants or where it came from, but I know one thing for sure. Some things in this world are not meant to be understood, and some places are best left alone. Thanks for listening. If you're ever out in the wilderness, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Stay safe out there.